So when you are given a problem, make sure that you write down what is given. Okay, so you can see that John has a mean of 70. So you can see that the mean is 70. Okay, and then the standard deviation is 15. You always want to use a notation to write down the numbers like this so that later you can plug them into the formulas. And then you can say that J, this is the score of John, right? And now Jane, both of them has name J, right? Start with letter J. So X bar, which is 70, and then S of X is 5, okay? So that's what you are given so far. And now you have to use the given values to describe the two students in terms of consistency of their grades and give reason. All right, I got Leif's answer. I will wait for a few more people. All right, I got Leif. We'll find out if other people have the same answer. I'm gonna call on a few people to see what they think, okay? About Alexander, can you talk to me out loud? Did you think whose grade is more consistent?
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think? Just tell me whatever you think. It doesn't need to be like accurate. It's fine. Yeah.
What was it again?
Between Jane's grades and John's grade, whose grades are more consistent?
I'm gonna just take a guess. I'll say Jane, I guess.
You said Jane. All right. And why is that, huh?
I'm not too sure. Just
All right. That's a good start. All right. Keep thinking about it. I'm going to try another one. How about, let me see. How about Juan? Can you tell me what's your answer about part A, for part A?
I'm not too sure yet. Still.
But if it's your guess, then who will have the grades that will be more consistent?
I would say Jane.
You say Jane too? All right. So it looks like some of you think that Jane's grades are more consistent, right? All right. So here is how you do it. Right, so I'm gonna, if you, yeah, so the one on the left will be Jane's grades and the one on the right will be, oh no, I'm gonna just talk about John first. John is mentioned first, right? So John is on the left and then Jane is on the right, okay? So let's look at the distribution, just in case you still don't get this. If you look at the distribution here, so the mean of John's grade is 70, right? And his standard deviation is 15, okay? 15 is the S of X. And then this is also 15 when you go to the left and go to the right, one standard deviation, right? And that means that the distance from the mean to the one on the left is also 15, and the distance from one to the right is also 15, right? But for Jane's score, this is the mean. The mean is what? 70. And the standard deviation is 5. Okay. And if you go to the left, 5, you go to the right, 5. And you can see that. Yeah. So if you look at the two graphs here, whose scores are more spread out, everyone? type in the chat for me whose scores are more spread out. Yeah, you will, that's good. Yeah, so John's scores are more spread out, right? So you can see that the standard deviation of John is bigger, right? So that means that the scores are more spread out, okay? And further away from the mean. But if you look at Jen's scores right here, you can see that scores are closer to the mean, closer to the mean. So the answer is Jen's grade so that means that Jen's grades are more consistent, okay? More consistent. All right, so that's the answer. More consistent means that the grades or the scores are closer to the mean, okay? But if they are big and they're like further away from the mean, so that means that they're not consistent, okay? So that's how you would explain it. You can say that Jen's scores are closer to the mean, so therefore they are more consistent, okay? Whereas John's scores are more spread out and they're further away from the mean, okay? All right, that's good. Let's just try one more and then we will take a break, okay? How about part B? Who is more accurately described as a 60 student and why? All right, I'm gonna wait for your answer. If you have the answer, type in the chat for me. All right, so Jane, you got Jane, Angela got Jane. Remember that if you read it carefully, everyone, who is more accurately described as a 60 student? That means that a student that is more likely to get a score of 60. So I got Mansera, Tlaith also. So what do you guys think? Yeah, so you have to think about it carefully. You guys have different answers. All right, Jane, Angela, yeah, so. What do you guys think? You're thinking about John or Jane? Oh, she is Jane, right? Oh, I see. I see. Vanessa also got Jane. The answer is John, everyone. I know it's not easy, right? So the answer is John, right? Yeah, right. Because if you look at Jane's distribution, everyone, you can see that if you go to the left of the score right here, which is 65, right? And if you go to the right here, then the score is 75. So that means that 68% of her scores will not be a score of 60. Is that right? So like most of her scores are not 60s. Okay. So it's less likely that she's gonna get a score of 60. So, and if you look at John's diagram here, you can see that this value right here, if you go to the left, the mean is 70, right? If you go to the left, 70 minus 15 is what? Is 55, right? And then the value over here will be 70 plus 15, which is 85. So that means that you can see that somewhere over here, it's going to be the scores of 60, right? So that means that, yeah, so John will be more likely to get a score of 60, okay? All right, so the answer is John, okay? So see who is more likely. So C of number 1, right? So who is more likely to do either extremely well or extremely poor on the next exam. What's your answer, everyone? Type in the chat for me. If I don't see your name on the chat, then I may call you out loud. Just tell me your guess if you don't get it right. That's fine. Okay, I got Vanessa, Yurio, Leif. All right, Montserrat. But in this case, like they are asking who is more likely to do either extremely well or extremely poorly on the next exam. It can happen in both cases, right? Right, so most of you said John. The answer is yes, John, okay? So the answer is John. John will do either very, very good or very bad, right? So because you can see, why is that? If you have to explain, then why you have that answer? Because what? Because his standard deviation or variance, you can say that variance are larger or is larger, right? That means that his scores are more spread out. All right, yeah. So his standard deviation is larger. Okay, therefore he can do very good or very bad. Right. So on the exam, if they ask this question, then you should explain it like that, based on their standard deviation or variance. Okay.